Eat it.
Oh my gosh.
Get out of my house.
Scream or something.
Hey, what's going on? Syntell with the Intel, and I'm here with the beautiful Mikel-Claire.
Thanks, Syntell.
Episode 7 of Dahmer. Hey, if you need to catch up with episodes 1 through 6, there'll be a link in the description. And of course, give us those thumbs up because that's how the people know you digging what we giving you. So with that being said, let's get started.
Jeffrey.
Oh, no.
Oh, goodness. Oh. Oh.
Yeah, man. I'm surprised he can even run in a straight line with all them drugs in him.
Yeah, he must have had either a lower dose or a different dose, or he was more
determined to just get the F out of here.
Yeah. Ooh-wee.
Ugh.
There is no way. I mean, obviously you don't have a choice. Ooh, that's creepy. Can you imagine if his eye was like staring back at her through the peephole?
You know, it's like you don't even trust the police. That's what's crazy. You're like, what? Do I even call?
No. Don't go out there. He's gonna be standing right there looking at you. Don't go out there. Why would you do that? What is she doing?
I have no idea. Maybe she may assume that there's other people in there.
Which there are.
Yeah, there are. Other living people.
Oh yeah, no. There. None of that. You can't see in there through that. Ooh-wee, shouldn't have done that. You don't want him to think that you're in his business or that you know something.
This has been going on for God knows how long with her.
Yeah. But this is the first time someone escaped though, remember? Oh, that was before?
God.
I don't remember.
Yeah, because this is the crime that he actually gets locked up for.
Oh, that's right. Okay. It's all confusing.
I'm telling you, this is the guy who's killing me. God is my witness.
Ooh-wee. Thank goodness. Ooh, thank goodness. Ooh-wee. I cannot even fathom that being my neighbor. All the time she tried to call the police.
Yeah.
Nothing!
Well, y'all motherfuckers knew? You knew?
Sir, calm down.
You knew this motherfucker was killing people?
What y'all finding it?
Ugh.
Okay, Niecy.
Complained of a stench for
I see you.
years, but they never imagined what might be causing it. Milwaukee police were led to an apartment.
I still wonder if that's live footage. I mean,
I think
real
that
footage.
is. Yeah, I think that's real footage.
Yeah, real footage. I remember those air conditionings.
Yeah, they still out here.
I know.
Oh, this is when they're kicking everybody out, huh?
Wait a minute. Where exactly am I supposed to go?
The entire building's a crime scene. There's toxic chemicals in here that could be a hazard.
The only thing that I can think of that's really correct regarding that is those chemicals, like, especially for her.
Oh, no, I believe that. I do believe that, but it's still...
Jarring.
Yeah,
Copy that.
Where are you
Ma'am,
supposed to
just
go?
pack your things and vacate the building.
It's hard enough for you to stay where you are.
We thought it might take a while. But Dahmer's kept more than just their bodies.
With their IDs.
He kept their IDs. One of his victims was only 14 years.
We knew that. They called her.
This case get any worse?
Did you really just say that?
And 2 of your officers escorted him back to
Back!
Yep.
The Laotian boy. We're still investigating the matter, but apparently a concerned citizen tried to intervene and save the boy, but she was ignored.
Yep.
Glenda Cleveland.
Are you planning to discipline these 2 officers?
No, of course
I'd
not.
like to finish our internal investigation first.
Oh, my
Or
God.
can't you at least suspend them to give the public the impression?
Why would they do that? That would inconvenience the officers.
I've been chief in Milwaukee 2 years, but the cops here still consider me an outsider. And the police union tends to protect its own.
What?
Okay, and I would advise
He's Hispanic, so they don't...
I don't give a damn what he is.
becomes more than just a story about a deranged serial killer.
Understood.
Have you notified the victims' families yet?
Or about to.
Ooh-wee, here we go. I mean, it's closure, but at the same time... Oh, these are the two that were interrogating him, remember?
Yeah, the investigators.
They were questioning him. Oh, my gosh.
Yes.
Is that the sister that he called?
Yeah.
Are you related to Errol Lindsay?
No, that's
Yes, Tony is my son.
That's birthday, Tony.
No, I knew Tony. I meant the sister of the guy. Remember he called somebody. It was called Errol's sister and was like...
About Conrad. Is he okay?
Mr. and Mrs. Syntell.
Remember that's the boy, the younger
Sorry
brother?
to say that your son is dead.
Y'all found... That they took to court?
Mm-hmm.
Glenda, can I have a word?
Oh my, what is this about? Oh my
Well,
gosh.
when the police arrived on the scene, they believed Jeff over my daughter and my niece who called 911. Jeff told him this child was his 19.
It's true.
Had on no clothes, couldn't speak a full sentence, and was obviously drugged up. Baby, can you tell us your name?
Oh my gosh, I remember that.
Over to check on his welfare and make sure he was okay. They just told me they had it handled.
Mr. Lively is worried about the press.
It's true though.
They don't care about
I
that.
know.
And Glenda,
Yes.
there have been some complaints about you.
Of course
oh my
there have been. Of course.
They see you crying sometimes at your desk.
Because it's a
try not
traumatic
to cause a
experience.
Right? How is that not
I try.
How is that something to complain about?
Get up, I excuse myself. I go to the restroom for a private moment when those feelings rise up.
This is becoming an HR issue.
Oh my gosh.
While I personally understand, I do.
Do you?
No, you don't. No, you don't.
I'm sorry. I am so sorry.
Ooh-wee.
It's just disgusting.
Who made the zombies?
Made the zombies.
Did you ever see the zombies? I'm just curious.
The zombies?
What in this? What does that mean?
I have no idea.
We have an update for you when the
What does that even mean?
I have no idea. I don't know what she's talking about.
Reverend Jackson, I have to confess, I have my reservations about you getting involved in this case.
Okay,
Oh,
so
that's supposed to
Jesse
be Jesse.
Jackson. Who's the other young man?
If you want to slay a dragon's son, you got to attack it from all angles. And injustice is one hell of a beast.
Okay, Jesse.
All right, Jesse. Mr. Jackson.
Here we go.
The more I realized it was not just a gruesome horror show.
Yeah, the worse it gets.
It's a metaphor for all the social ills that plague our nation. Bad policing.
Yeah, and point them out. Thank you.
Address and redress these wrongs.
Rev Jackson, we understand your reasons for coming here. But to be honest, we're worried your presence may complicate our own effort.
Oh my gosh.
Yes, Chief. I did come to Milwaukee to be an agitator. To hold you gentlemen accountable.
Thank you. Accountability.
Now, I assume you spoke with Glenda Cleveland.
Actually, no, not yet.
Oh my gosh.
Miss Cleveland.
Right?
Yeah.
Right?
I know.
Yeah, we know who
you are, Reverend Jackson. I voted for you.
May I come in?
Yes. Yes.
So I hear you're a data entry clerk.
I was.
You remind me of my mother. Strong, resilient. Now, I know a Southern girl when I hear one.
They never listen.
Infuriating.
Yes.
I'll listen.
And to this day, it ain't stopped. That it's still like that today.
Well, after the Conarac incident, things with Jeff got really bad.
Conarac?
Yeah, the young Laotian kid.
Oh, okay. Yeah, those beers. You can hear them crack them open. I still can't imagine the smell.
That part.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. I wouldn't. Oh, I could not knock on his door. I mean, I guess that's all you can do if you're the neighbor, because the police aren't going to come.
You can smell it through your vent?
Yeah.
Like he was in the next room.
Because it is.
Promise I'll throw it out first thing. I won't cook it like that again. I really am sorry.
Wait, Jeff, is every...
I keep hearing the baby crying.
You know, I had always assumed that, I don't know, that everybody's ventilation system was their own self-contained thing. I don't know. I mean, that sounds stupid now that I'm saying it out loud.
Say.
But,
especially not in low-income housing.
Yeah.
Now, you do got a few shady characters that you got to look out for.
Well, I'll keep my eyes open. Thanks, Glenda. You have a good one.
You too, Dean.
Uh-oh, Dean's going to come up missing.
Sure.
I don't know. I can understand why she's closing the door a little bit, because you don't know 100%. You can't just blow the spot up, but I would definitely go knock on his door after that conversation.
That's what I'm saying. I would have warned him.
And be like, yo, you got to watch this door.
Did you hear that?
Yeah.
I would have warned him ahead of time. I would have warned him when we were having that first conversation.
Yeah.
When she said shady people,
yeah.
I'd have said, don't go to my neighbor's house. Oh, here is this.
Yeah, that's this monster model.
Yeah, well, I was going to say, I hope this is her instead of him. You know what? I have to go back and look at real pictures of him, because I don't understand how he's so charming.
Well, apparently, from my understanding, he was considered a handsome man and charming. You know, he was
That's
handsome
what I'm
and
saying.
charming.
I need to look and see the picture, because no. And I don't understand. I'm just really confused how everybody goes with him. Everybody.
And see what the hell he's up to. I am telling you, between the noises and the smells, something ain't right.
I can give him a warning about the noise complaint and the smells.
Oh my gosh.
Complained about him before. I think I spoke with an officer, Baznarak or Bowsiak or...
Yes, I see a record of the conversation. So what's the issue, ma'am?
Oh my gosh.
Months ago, I heard screaming coming from his apartment.
Screaming? Like an argument?
No, like somebody in pain.
Do you still hear it?
No, because he's dead.
I'm sorry, ma'am. Unless it's an active situation, that's the best I can do.
Whenever I call y'all, you say the same thing. Or I'm going to send somebody tomorrow, and nobody ever shows.
Oh, that's the new guy that moved in. That's his mail.
Wow.
This letter is postmarked 2 weeks ago. That's around the time I saw him talking to Jeff. He ain't picked up his mail since.
Mr. Vaughn?
You can do a wellness check as the manager. He can actually go in.
See?
Yeah, the manager can actually
Open
go
the
in.
door.
Glenda, the guy's not here. I can't just let you into his apartment.
You can go in, though, and do a wellness check.
So I am asking you, Mr. Princewell,
Golly.
to please evict him.
He's probably scared of him, too. I hear something in there.
Mr. Dahmer?
Oh, they got the rug. He's got the rug cleaner in there. Oh, my God.
Could you just step outside, please?
Cleaning the blood off.
Yeah, from Dean.
Come on, man.
Oh, my
gosh. I just
gosh.
got fired today.
I'm sorry, Jeff.
Right?
That's not really helping your case.
You're not the only person I got to look out for, okay?
Yeah, you need to call the police, too, manager.
Look, I'm sorry. It's just like, I never meant to cause you in trouble.
I'm sorry, Jeff.
Just walk away now.
I really am.
Once you deliver the letter, you don't have to have conversation.
She's the one who complained.
I'm sorry, Jeff.
Now Glenda has to be concerned for her safety.
And that's the thing,
Yeah.
Like, as her, she's got to really tread lightly because she's pretty much alone.
Yeah. Oh, she is alone completely. I wouldn't even open my door to him.
Hey, Glenda.
I would not open my door to him. He wasn't the only one.
Jeff. It's done. All right?
Wait, hold on.
Oh, no.
Can I just...
No.
Can I come inside just for a sec?
No.
Because I got a cleaning crew in today that cost me $49. Which I don't have because I just got fired.
What does that have to do with me?
I want to see if I was still stinking up your place.
No.
Okay?
No.
Oh, hell no.
No.
Okay.
What? I don't understand why people listen to him. I don't get it. You literally heard people screaming in pain. You saw this young man out on the street with him, and you let him come into your apartment.
See?
After he knows you did a noise complaint.
I don't smell nothing.
I can't argue against it.
I don't get it. See, is your daughter here? No.
What is it?
Somebody's spleen. Don't sit down. I'm telling you, I don't understand. This is my house. Get out.
You're scared of me.
Yes.
I am not scared of you.
Well, come on, sit down then.
Oh my gosh. Special toppings.
I can't even. It's probably like people in there.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. It's probably drugs. He's probably gonna drug her and then try to kill her.
No way in hell I'm eating that.
A chicken sandwich?
I don't know what human flesh cooks up like, so I'm assuming it's gonna be people.
It's a sandwich.
It's probably Dean.
I used to be a butcher. I made that just for you. Go ahead.
No.
I don't know what's in that.
Thank you.
So what? Why are you having a conversation?
You a vegetarian?
No.
Yes.
I'm not a vegetarian.
But
I'm not eating a sandwich that my neighbor made when his apartment been smelling like a dead raccoon's ass.
Your grandma didn't tell on you.
I ain't your mama, Jeff.
Nope.
Take back the complaint.
I told you. It's done.
No, it isn't. It doesn't even smell in here.
Of course you can't smell it. You're nose blind.
Sometimes I have nightmares.
You really expect him to tell you?
You was talking to him in the hallway, then I never saw him after that.
She a good one because I wouldn't have disclosed anything that I knew.
I don't know where he went.
All right then. You're moving out.
I told you I wouldn't have even had the conversation. He would not be in my house.
Eat it.
Oh my gosh.
Get out of my house.
Scream or something. Can you imagine how she feels?
Terrified.
Yeah, well, I mean, even after finding all this out, that she even had this conversation and had him in her house. Too bad she can't take that sandwich and have it, what is it? Dissected. I can only imagine the amount
that was intense
of fear that she has living there.
That was intense.
Terrifying. Terrifying.
Ugh.
terrifying.
Well, I think it's a fight going on next door, and somebody is either being hurt or killed.
Can you go make sure?
No.
Hell no. What?
Right?
I said I think somebody is being killed. I ain't going next door.
Right?
We'll send a car over.
Wait, you're not even gonna ask me the apartment number?
Ma'am, I said we'd send somebody.
Y'all are
Oh my gosh.
50 times.
I need you to lower your voice, okay? And if you keep calling us all the time, how are we going to know when it's an emergency? 911 is a resource, okay?
Oh my gosh.
Somebody is being killed. Do you get that?
They do not care. Oh. Golly, you just gotta hear it.
And she knows. She's trying to get some help. 30 days. Supposedly. To be evicted.
Oh.
She is absolutely traumatized. Traumatized. And this is your home. Oh my gosh. Oh.
Damn. How can you not suffer from trauma? I just want to blow her wherever she works up to. Both of them. Just.
I hear you. And finally, others have too. Tomorrow, Chief Areola is suspending the 2 officers who ignored you.
Suspending.
I'm still angry at the fact that she couldn't cry at work dealing with that crap. All of that stuff she was hearing and seeing, and she couldn't. They were like, "Oh, you're crying at work. We've had complaints." Because I'm traumatized.
She couldn't even cry in her own home. Whew.
Traumatized.
All right, is it going to sound weird that I think that I'm happy that I saw this episode because I'm absolutely just exhausted of the seeing it from Jeff's perspective standpoint, and let's get it from a different standpoint and maintain the real narrative, and that is this is a really jacked up dude doing despicable things to human beings. And now that we're finally off that, well, maybe we can see it from the he's mentally unwell or this, that, and the third. Every other kind of excuse we've been hearing to humanize this horrible person. We're not getting that in this episode. I'm grateful. We're getting it from the real deal, from somebody that's literally in that battle of having to hear it. Somebody that sits there and witnesses all of this. And there is no trying to save or understand that who Jeff is. And I needed this episode. It's upsetting as it is, and pretty much most of the stuff is upsetting. I'm glad that the narrative is shifting a little bit more towards the victims, the people that were affected, the community that's being affected.
Well, I think when I read the comments, I try not to get spoilers or anything like that. But I know like a lot of people that have finished the entire thing say that was kind of like the redemption quality of it, was the fact that once we figure out the effect that it had on the community and the victims and their families in general, I think that's why it kind of resonated with people to actually finish the series. Because if we didn't have this episode, people might have thrown their hands up.
Well, I mean, there's not too many shows that I get this far into and I'm like, okay, I think I'm about done. And if it wasn't probably for, I feel a personal responsibility to our subscribers and the people that are watching to see it through. I'm not going to lie. I probably would have stopped. I probably would have. Just because of the exhaustion of it, the fatigue of it. And I have a really I thought I had a really considerably high threshold for stuff, but I think it's because it's more so it affects a community that I hold dear, and to see that type of just negligence from the people that are supposed to be helping, and to see the type of, well, let's get a deeper understanding for the murderer as to why they're, to see that just nonstop, it's exhausting. I know I keep saying that over and over again, but there's just a lot, unfortunately, a lot of the stuff that's portrayed within our community, be it through in art, be it through videos or music or whatever it is, it has such a very strong negative connotation. Not all of it, but there is a very large portion of it. And this one is just really just raw and uncut. You know, it's just like I feel like, Clockwork Orange, and they're just holding my eyes open, and I'm just having like being like force fed like this imagery. Do you feel the reprieve now a little bit more so?
No, I wouldn't say it's a reprieve for me.
Okay.
I still feel the same type of exhaustion that you've mentioned. And I know I've mentioned this before, because it's funny that you say, traumatized and things like that,
right.
And the exhaustion of it all. And I think about Euphoria, right?
Right.
Which is another show
that we have reviewed.
Yeah, that is extremely emotionally taxing.
Yeah. Yes.
And we've had this conversation before. For me, it's the nonfiction versus the fiction.
Ah, yes.
That's what makes it that much more exhausting to me, because when I'm watching a show, a lot of times I can kind of separate the fact that this is not reality, or even though it's based on behaviors or human nature and things like that, it's not a true story.
Right.
And because this one is, regardless of the episode, regardless of how they're conveying who, it is exhausting because it is technically real life.
And the thing when it comes to stuff like this, how we all process things differently, right? Perfect example is I love fireworks, but I come from a military community, and there's a lot of people within our community that cannot be around them because they've had traumatic experiences with loud sounds, being in areas of conflict. And for those that don't live in that space or in that neighborhood, they may not understand the fact that those booms and the lights and stuff, they're like, how can somebody, well, it's just that you can see where it's coming from. I've heard that before. That's not, but there's something triggering. And then it affects the people that love those people that are affected by it as well. So I think this is kind of like in that same kind of vein. Like I've listened to some of the comments and some people, and they're like, well, maybe you just don't necessarily like have like the stomach for it per se. Maybe you can't handle that type of trauma. And there's some truth to that. This particular type of trauma. No, I can't hold it in the same vein as, say, watching, let's just say another horrific film like The Silence of the Lambs with Hannibal Lecter that deals with a cannibal doing like horrible things. Like you said, there's that wall of fiction, and my brain can process that wall of fiction and not ingest it as something that's close. Not, emotionally, the proximity of it, So this is close for me. So I can watch horror. Like we watch horror movies and all kinds of random, despicable, crazy stuff. It's the Halloween season, and we laugh and all this other stuff because there's that wall. There's that wall of safety. That there's no wall here,
and that's why it has that extra level of trauma. I think anybody that has experienced any of these things in a traumatic sense can be triggered by all of this.
Yeah.
And like I said, because we understand that these are real events that occurred, it just makes it that much more traumatic. And I know I keep saying that word over and over again, but it is.
I know. I feel like we're both beating the hell out of this poor horse, but just like Glenda, who's like trying to process and verbalize it, I think the repetitive nature of it gives us that opportunity to kind of like what's really just going on with it. Okay, a piece of information that I did not know is I had no idea that Reverend Jesse Jackson was a part of the whole thing regarding involving a politically active moment in our community in order to sort things out. And on the surface, I could understand why that young man in the car was asking him Like, how does this, affect our community? But then when you really sit there and you break it down and you talk about the neglect from the police, you talk about the neglect of the communities being a safe space, you're talking about unemployment and violence and all that stuff that's in there. And then all of that can breed of an environment where somebody like Jeff can thrive, and then not only can he thrive in that environment, the people that live in that environment can't do anything to stop it. So it does become an issue, a political issue,
civil rights
issue.
Yeah.
When you need somebody like Jesse Jackson at that time to come in and hold people accountable. The accountability part of it is the thing that's just, I don't know what I'm more frustrated with. I've been frustrated with the police regarding all of this, but then when we follow Glenda to her work, to her office, and she's suffering from PTSD, and she says she's trying to take these moments, and then her HR person comes up and is talking about how her trauma is affecting everybody else and disrupting their comfortable space, and even speaking out about it. It is a blemish to the company because they're more of a conservative type of place to work at. The silence at home, you can't have peace at home. You can't find a place to escape from at work. There's no place for you to get away. And this ties into more than just Jeff. I mean, just in the community as a whole. If you live in a space where there is violence on your street and you are under siege and you can't walk up and down your own staircase without worrying about somebody mugging you and you flinch, which I think was a poignant moment, and you can't express and escape from it at your job and nobody else wants to come and help you. Like, it's bigger than just Jeff. It's a community issue. It's just Jeff is just this festering animal that thrived in that space.
I'll be honest with you. I didn't know Jesse Jackson was a part of it either, but I mean, I'll admit I was very young at the time, so I wouldn't have been like, following the story or the facts of what was going on, or you know what I mean. So, and I'm sure at that age I wouldn't have been watching the details on TV because it's a very horrific thing. You know what I mean? So to see that he was involved, I'm very happy that he was able to see the value of becoming involved in it because of all of the issues and the community issues that you just described. Because I think he's going to add a whole other element and dynamic to it that other people wouldn't have that perspective. And that includes people in the community that aren't quite sure of what to do at this point now that no one has listened. I tried to warn you 50,000 times. I'm sure there were other complaints from other tenants that were just, other residents that we're just not aware of. So I'm just happy that they're showing that this is why this is important. Rather than trying to show you that, Jeff he can show love. He can love somebody, but you know what I mean? Like, I'm glad that they showed the bigger why. As to why this is being shown.
We've been so just beat down with the trauma in the story that we've kind of missed like the nuances of the art of telling this story, right? And we normally do a pretty decent job of like picking out some of the cool things of the artistry of the filmmaking. There's a scene in particular that I think there's a lot to it, and I haven't really been able to decode it a lot. And that's when Jeff comes over to visit Glenda, and he brings the sandwich. I just naturally assume it's human pieces in that, right? It looks like chicken, but like I said, I don't know what cooked up human beings look like.
Well, he said it's a pulled pork, so it's some sort of
right. Like I feel like the filmmaker is like trying to give us some nuggets of something without being overt with it.
I do too.
Yeah, and I'm not because I'm so stuck in my. I don't know, that space of just anger right now.
Well, the thing is, I wonder too, if that's one of those liberties that like maybe the filmmakers or the writers took with the sandwich because of that very reason that we assume that it's human parts, and maybe that didn't even happen. You know what I mean? We don't know. We really don't know. So that's kind of where I'm taking it from, is that maybe he's saying, and this is so horrible. I was gonna say, how pulled pork, maybe like he's referencing like the officers that she keeps calling or something, or I don't know. I don't know.
I feel you.
We can guess a million different ways, but I really do think it's just maybe something that they kind of added in there.
I'm curious as to what you all think. You guys come up with some really cool conversations and some really good, cool perspectives as well. That's only like the biggest nugget that I could think of off the top of my head.
Well, the only other thing I want to talk about just for 1 second is please. I still do not understand the charm or the appeal of him. I don't get it. I don't.
I think it's because he's just not for you, but there's a group of people that want that. And I think here's another thing that I've been trying to process too, and try to understand a little bit more, because he's a white man in a black space. Like he lived in part of the neighborhood where most of the minority people live, is what I'm understanding. Mm-hmm. There's that unicorn effect, right? Mm-hmm. Where somebody in my neighborhood that doesn't look like everybody else, and you're attracted to it. And then there's also the illusion of whiteness being,
valued more so
right,
than
exactly.
others.
And this white man is talking to me and showing, So I think that has a really large part to do with it as well.
Yeah, I know. I'm just disgusted.
Yeah,
and and I get that from that perspective, but the neighbor, Miss Glenda, she let him in her house. That's what I'm saying. It's that kind of charm that I just don't. The judge, he charmed you. The police officers, he charmed him. This is my boyfriend. Oh no. So anyway, I digress. I could go on forever, but.
There is one thing too, and we say this a lot of times when we watch projects that are based on true stories.
Mm-hmm.
That filter it holds a lot of sway.
Mm-hmm.
Like a lot can be posted into that, and there's a very real, like maybe half of this is actually what really happens. I think we all as viewers see these images and these stories and see as a 100% beat for beat fact, and that's just not the case. Mm-hmm. That's just the writer is incapable of knowing every single nuance of what goes on.
That's what I wonder.
We get an idea of what could have happened when we watch these things, and we do have to keep that in mind.
I wonder that too. I'm like, how did you know what he said to her in the room by themselves and all that? But anyway, I digress. Yeah.
I'd say probably if you're lucky, maybe half is probably actually what happened. Mm-hmm. And then the rest is just left up to the writer's interpretation. Mm-hmm. All right, well, one thing you don't have to interpret is how to sign up and subscribe to this channel. And of course, give us a thumbs up, because that's how the people know you are digging what we are giving you. I know we are exhausted regarding this, and we hope that you are happily exhausted regarding some of the discussion. Please check out Mikel-Claire's page.
I can barely get over here to tell you about it. I'm so exhausted. But I'm going to share. Okay, Snooty Vegans, Lock Lifestyle, Vegan Lifestyle, Life as You Know It. Feel free to subscribe, like, enjoy the journey. Link in description.
Yeah, all of that. Easy peasy, lemon squeezy. You could be able to just, click, bang, bang, you're there. Hey, we out of here. We're going to have a drink of water.
I'm exhausted. Peace.